Hi everyone, welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how I made my clicker mask. To start, I made a pattern out of paper just to see how the pieces will fit. I added that little hole just so I can see through the mask. Then I'm gonna grab some EVA foam and some Fimo, and this is like an air drying clay, but I believe it is a bit more lightweight than regular clay, and I'm gonna be using this for the details. After cutting the pieces in foam, I'm now going to be adding some texture to them. I didn't want this to just look like blocks of foam, so I'm adding some lines just to give it more texture. I'm just pressing lightly on the foam. You don't want to cut it too deep, otherwise it could break. And then you just need to heat it up with your heat gun, and this is the result. Then I grabbed my Dremel and I sanded the edges a little bit just because I wanted this piece to look a little bit more organic and get rid of those sharp edges. Now I'm adding some water to the foam just so the clay will stick better. Now I recommend you using foam clay instead of actual clay. Now I personally did not have any problem with this clay whatsoever, but I feel like it could fall off at any moment, and if I dropped the piece, these would probably break. So if you can, maybe use foam clay. I believe that's going to be a better option. Also, please ignore this piece. I was just making some paint tests. Then I just added some details to the clay just so it blends well with the pattern. I let the pieces dry overnight, and now it's time to make the teeth. For the teeth, I'm going to be using this nail set. I just cut the pieces around the edges to make them look a little bit more like teeth. And then for the gums, I just rolled up some clay and then just placed the teeth on the clay and let it dry overnight. Once everything is dry, it is time to paint. I'm going to be using this water-based paint, which I recommend you using if you do not prime your EVA foam like I did, because if you use spray paint or other types of paints, the foam might crack once you try to bend it. And this type of paint is a little bit more flexible. I painted about 2 to 3 layers, and after that I glued everything together just to see how it all fits. I also just wanted to quickly show you the back. I know it looks messy, but I just added some reinforcements with craft foam just to make sure the mask won't fall apart. Now for the teeth, I'm going to be gluing some craft foam on them just so I can stick them easily to the back of the mask. Then I felt like the mask was a little too flat, so I decided to add some like veins texture to it using my glue gun, and I think this made a big difference in bringing the look all together. Then I'm going to be using these alcohol activated paints to color the veins in white. With the stipple sponge, I'm going to be adding white all over the mask, focusing on the center especially. Then for the edges, I'm gonna go with this dark orange. I feel like the stipple sponge gives an amazing texture to the piece, so I recommend you trying it out. For the gums, I'm going to be using this dark pink color and then some light brown to the teeth just so they look a bit more gross and rotten. Also, if you make a mistake with alcohol activated paints, just add alcohol and a Q-tip and you can easily remove it. Now I'm going to be adding some blood splatter just to make it a little bit more gross, a little bit more bloody. My camera had stopped recording, but I did add a little bit more shading with some brown all around the edges just to give it a little bit more depth, as you will see in the final footage. And now for the application time, let's go! And no, before you say anything, I am not naked, okay? I have a crop top, but you can see it because it doesn't have shoulder straps, okay? Whatever. I'm going to be using this water activated paint. Yeah, this is dirty. Don't look at it. It's disgusting. I mixed up some white, black, and a little bit of blue just to create this grayish shade, just so we can look a little more dead and infected. Now I'm going to be adding some purples from this Ben Nye palette, also water activated. Then I used this brush, which was just a little wet, to blend all the colors together. I'm adding some white just so we can match with the mask, and I feel like it gives a little more sickly look as well. Grab a t-shirt, rip it off, and now let's get bloody. I'm going to be using some liquid blood in the color Blood Vein. You can use a stipple sponge, a sea sponge, whichever you want. And just add a lot of blood, especially to your mouth area. I mean, you're a clicker. You've been eating people. And this is pretty much it. Now grab your mask. You can add an elastic strap like I did to hold it in place. Adding just a smear of blood onto the teeth. And we are done. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.